welcome back to the Album in our YouTube channel, the home of album reviews, discography guides and think pieces. So, what better way to start off 2021 good and proper than with the 5th episode of the Not-So-Forensic Records Society. For those of you who aren't aware of how this series works, me and my co-host Gallagher get together a batch of 9 songs from a Spotify playlist or wherever, get in a Zoom call and exchange them with each other, and then a week later after we've made notes, come back, shout at each other and then upload that as YouTube content, except not today, because this episode is the first of 3 guest spot episodes, where I've given Gallagher the episode off to spare him from my musical torture, and have drafted in one of my unwitting friends to take his place. And this episode features the talents of my good friend and streamer, Mr. Cyndaquil42, who as well as being an excellent streamer, is also taking a level 5 BTEC in music, so I knew I had to be on my toes here. And it was quite an interesting conversation, because not only were his recommendations, not what I was really expecting for him, but they were very different from what I would normally listen to, so it was intriguing there, but also because he's got a very analytical brain, like Gallagher has, I suppose, the level of logic he came with at some points genuinely kind of floored me a little bit, especially towards the beginning. I think you'll see just the amount of dissection he does early on to some of the songs absolutely just caught me way off guard. And also I think just because the content he makes is very different to mine, and so the way he kind of analysed the stuff that I gave him in terms of the references that he drew upon were really kind of surprising as well. So it was either that I had to sit back and just be in awe of his level of logic at some points, or just be generally confused by his constant barrage of pop culture references. And believe me, when those two mix together, which they often do, it makes for a very interesting conversation. So without further ado, here's the episode. Also, I should probably mention now that in the description there is a link to a channel that has all of our respective batches from episode 2 onwards. So if you want to go down and make your opinions of these songs for yourself, the link's down in the description. But anyway, on with the show. Hello people, and welcome back to another episode of the Not-So-Forensic Records Society. As you can see, it is not Gallagher to my left today. It is in fact a brand new guest, Mr. Cyndaquil42, semi-professional Fortnite player himself.
Yes.
This was quite interesting for me because obviously Gallagher, you know him, he's a good friend of ours. I've kind of done the show with him for 4 episodes in the past, and I kind of know where he's coming from, but I don't know where you're coming from, and so I had no idea where to go from for you. So this was quite interesting for me. So I wondered, why don't you just start us off with your batch that you've got set up?
I'm going to go with In My Dreams by Lakey Inspired. It's more on the, I guess you could put it as what I used to listen to around, back when I was around 11, 12. It's what I first listened to. Then I wanted to go with something more up your street, a very recent song that's only just recently come out called Oh Yeah, You're Gonna Cry by Lovejoy, which is, I think probably more up your street. And then I decided to go with Would Look Perfect, Halfu and RX SE Boy. And then I want to go with a very different song that you're probably like, what? This is completely different. But it's called I'm a Princess by Bill Wurtz.
Oh, Bill Wurtz, what a guy. Yes.
Yeah, I love his songs so much. Then I want to go more, again, stuff that I listened to a while ago, but still it's very good today. Tube by Zuby. So a very long time ago, back again, year 7-ish, I used to just get very much influenced by YouTubers. So if a YouTuber played a song or said, this song's good, I'd listen to some, but a lot of songs I used to listen to were just YouTubers' intro songs and stuff. But that kind of made me go down a rabbit hole. And then I'll go Pain by Josh A. You're not going to be able to spell this, so I might just send it to you. Cyndaquil, which I think, as you probably know, is Icelandic, so it's an Icelandic song. Crying Too Much by Sad Eyes is good, I think. I'll go with that one.
Right.
I might just say literally one of my favourite songs, Autumn by Else. I might change Autumn, the last song that I was a bit about, to a different song that I've just remembered about, and it's called Merry Go Round of Life.
So moving on to my selection. Now you probably agree with this in that I am quite secretive about my music taste normally. If somebody comes up to me and go, what music are you listening to? I go, good music, and then leave it at that. I don't even bother telling them. So what I tried to do with this is kind of a similar thing to you, is that I tried to get the most easy version of all the angles of what I listen to into one playlist. So the first one is a song by Public Image Limited, who I've played a few times on this show, and it's called Seattle, because in their albums in the 80s, Public Image, they were a bit more of an experimental band to start with, but in the 80s and 90s they did some stuff that was taking more popular forms of rock and stuff and doing them in a kind of sharp-edged way, if you like. And Seattle, I think, is a brilliant example of that, because the guitars sound incredible on here. They're like arena sized. It's incredible. The next one is a song by Billy No Mates called Emergency Telephone off of the EP of the same name. I'm not sure how to really describe this one to you because it's got like dance beats, but it's not really a dance song. There's like dance beats, but also really sung melodic vocals and more sort of rapped segments, I guess, as well. Like, it's a bit all over the place, but I think it's a really enjoyable song. The next one is a song by Underworld called Juanita, Kiteless, To Dream of Love. I tried to play Underworld a few times on this show, and it was kind of a difficult thing with Gallagher because he has a thing about long songs that don't really do much, or, you know, he doesn't really like songs that are of a certain length or whatever. But I thought it's better off to try this on you because their whole thing is about like slow, methodical build-ups, but like big payoffs, like big atmospheres, big synths, big all that sort of thing. And it is quite a long song, like it's 16 and a half minutes. So I really went out on a limb with this one. My next song is a song by Pendulum called Plastic World, featuring Fats and TC off of their 2005 album Hold Your Colour. And this is a bit more of a kind of straight up drum and bass style track, but it's a bit more atmospheric, kind of like Underworld in a way, but just like the beats are a bit faster. There's a bit of a reggae influence in there, bit of like sort of shoegazy atmospheric guitar stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in this song. This next song is probably the one that I am most excited about because it is a song by a experimental group called The Residents, and it is called The Festival of Death off of their Eskimo album from 1979. And the only way I can describe this to you is it's not really like a song, but it's like a lot of fake Arctic chanting and like tribal music. The next one is a song by my favorite band of all time. It is The Prodigy with Smack My Bitch Up from their 1997 Fat of the Land album. It is just, I mean, this is probably the most abrasive of all of the songs here because it is like punk influenced, just hard beats, like real proper, like blasting in your ears. I mean, it's not too overwhelming, but there is like a decent amount of heft to it. It's like dance music with a definite punk energy to it. And I think Smack My Bitch Up, it's maybe not the most overtly punk, but it is definitely like the Prodigy mission statement in a song. So I thought this was probably the most obvious one to give to you. I mean, you see me wearing the coat every day of my life.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
The next one is also quite an interesting one because it is a song by John Cooper Clarke called Post-War Glamour Girl. Now, John Cooper Clarke is actually a poet from the 1970s who did some really interesting poems because a lot of poems people can think are a bit arty-farty, a bit pretentious, sort of like, you know, that kind of thing. But John Cooper Clarke, his whole thing was that he was resolutely not that. It's like danceable disco rock with like gritty poetry over the top, but it's like really, really well done, I think. So my penultimate song is a song by The Fall called Facebook Troll. This is one of my favourite of The Fall's later releases, later songs, because The Fall are a really tight sort of like rock, kind of punk but not really punk band. Like their rhythm section is so tight, and some of the keyboards and guitars are incredible on this song. I mean, there is an inherent comedy value in that you can't really understand anything that he's saying. The band playing in the background, and he's just there going, Facebook. And then my last song is one that I am quite excited about because it is a song by a band called Limp Bizkit called Dad Vibes. Now, Limp Bizkit, they've got a reputation because they're kind of like a mix of heavy metal and hip hop, and they've kind of got a very bad reputation in that their lyrics are super corny and amateurish with no self-awareness about that whatsoever. However, it seems as though on this new song that they've just put out that the self-awareness has all of a sudden just like absolutely spiked up.
Imagine going to school, doing music, getting a degree, going to university, and then getting your friends and making a band called Limp Bizkit.
So I think it is just a really fun song to listen to, and that's probably one of the things about it, is that a lot of Limp Bizkit's songs haven't really been fun just because of how angsty they are, but this one is definitely fun. So I'm very much looking forward to yours. I hope that you will find mine at least somewhat curious.
Yes.
And we will join you in about 12 seconds for the verdict part a week from now once you've got time to make proper notes and stuff, and then we can feed back
Yes.
to each other.
All
So
right.
we will see you then. Right, hello boys. So we are back. It is my good buddy XD Cyndaquil to my left, and it is verdict
Oh.
time. It's time to give some thoughts and crush some dreams. So I, first of all, had your song by Lakey Inspired called In
Oh,
My
yes.
Dreams, I think it was. I
Yes.
thought this was, a fairly nice, laid-back, chill hop track. Kind of like I
Yes.
like the piano sample, and I thought the beat was nice enough. And I also like the touches of kind of orchestral instrumentation, sort of later on, sort of like some trumpets, some strings, or maybe it was trombone. I can't quite remember. Anyway, I do like those. I mean, obviously, there's not a whole lot of development going on, like structure-wise, but I guess that's kind of excusable given the type of vibe it's going for. And I guess
Yeah.
as an extension of that, it does kind of have the sort of generic 24/7 lo-fi hip-hop radio thing going on.
Yeah.
But in this case, I don't really mind that too much because it's a bit more high gloss. It has a bit more going on. It's a bit more extravagant than
Yeah.
any of your average
That's
lo-fi stuff. So
that's why I like it
definitely
more. Yeah. Your first song was Seattle. I thought the intro to the song was good, and I've said here it sets up the main riff and melody going forwards. Although my biggest point is the main melody really never gets added on. It's just the same thing for it. So I like the guitar; that it doesn't drown out the song, which I like a lot. Here's where it's in the first verse. I've said it very instantly repetitive. The lyrics themselves said aren't anything to be like, oh, this is like talking about some big like issues. Like I didn't know much about the Seattle building stuff. Although I did say that on the lyrics it says up, what goes up must come down. When you think up and down, the notes go up and down, which I thought was clever. In the chorus, I thought that it still follows the same melody, and I thought that the chorus, like the first chorus, was quite short, which feels just like they want to stick with the main repetitive sort of melody throughout, which is fine. I thought the repetitiveness could be trying to represent like everyday life and how repetitive it is, because it's got a childlike nursery rhyme melody, it could have a lot of metaphorical meaning.
I mean, this got big brain pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So your second song was what was it? It was "Oh Yeah, You're Gonna Cry" by Lovejoy, which I'm gonna get this out of the way now before I get angry people in my comments. Any criticisms I have towards this song isn't just blur Wilbur Sup Minecraft bad.
Yeah,
Because
I
I know
didn't.
there's going to be like a load of people who are like, you're just doing this because you don't like Wilbur Sup, blah, blah, blah. It's like, to get the positives out of the way, I did think that the chorus was catchy enough. I'll take it. It's fairly pleasant. And I do think that the touches of the kind of mariachi style trumpets in the chorus are actually quite nice as well. My main problem with this song, though, is that it freaks me out how eerily similar it was to like a billion other indie songs that I'd heard already. Like it was almost kind of eerily similar to some of the stuff I'd heard. Like the thing that came to my mind was a Kook song called Naive that I was like, this is weirdly similar. Like the vocals sounded almost identical. The guitar lines were basically beat for beat identical, like exactly the same.
Yeah.
I thought the production as well was kind of a bit flat. I don't know. It didn't seem very vibrant or snappy or punchy. Like it just seemed very sort of dime dozen modern indie rock type stuff. I mean, it's pleasant, but it got to the point where I knew that if I was genuinely getting a bit freaked out because of how similar it sounded to something, that there's probably something wrong going on.
Now, you need to calm down. What good's this energy? When you devote it to me, why not be a little more friendly?
Now this song, I loved and hated at the exact same time. I really liked the backing. I thought, like, at the time, I was playing Forza, and I was in like a big fast car, and it fit so perfectly because it was dark, it was nighttime, and I was driving through Edinburgh in Forza, and it was super nice. And I thought, damn, this would like super suit like a nice sort of like the music at least would suit sort of like Tokyo Drift style, like Dark Knight Drive. And I thought that's really cool. I really like the song, really like the synth. I thought it was like I've put it here. I imagine it's behind some sort of Cyberpunk 2077 style thing. But, and here's the big but, I hate the singing. I really don't like that. It's so flat it's really like I said here. It sounded like a woman in the shower using shampoo bottles as a mic.
For me, I've learned there's a fine line between stuff that I think is chilled and stuff that other people think is boring.
Emergency telephone, ringing off the wall. I don't believe in anything anymore.
So your next song was "Would Look Perfect" by Palfu and Roseboy. I do like the melody the track uses in the beat,
Yeah.
like the sample that it uses. I think it is quite nice, and I think the beat itself is fairly decent overall as well. Although that's basically where my praise ends, because I thought, well, look, I thought the lo-fi vocal sample that is used in the chorus is kind of warbly and odd and doesn't really serve much purpose. And I don't really like the voices of either rapper on the song because they just seem
Yeah.
really whiny and kind of like...
That's my only criticism about Powerful. I
Yeah.
don't think he does it on that song, which is the reason I chose. There was like a few songs I was like, which one do I pick?
Yeah.
And I only chose this one because he doesn't go full whiny mode.
The lyrics as well, they just reek of like nice guy, if you get what I mean. Like all the lyrics are like, oh, how dare somebody hurt you? I'm not like that. And it just reeked of
was-
like Discord moderator. Yeah, basically, aside from the beat, I like nothing about this song because I just found it super whiny
Yeah.
and irritating.
Walking into town as I cut across the park. It's rainy every day. Maybe I should build an ark. See you with your friend group. Lonely like I always am. Gave a silent wave, but
This was a very interesting song. Overall, as a song, it's not got anything wrong with it. Like, it's not like, oh, I didn't like that, except maybe the end where it just starts listing off colours, which I thought was a bit weird. But I've said here, it's like wallpaper. It's something you just look at or listen to. It's not something you'll actually like. It's not something that you'll actually listen to. You just put it on in the background as something just to have in the background, which is fine. And if that's what it's going for, it's fine. But you wouldn't listen to that as a song to like sit down and actually listen to. Like it's a bit dated, I guess. It's not something you'd hear nowadays. It's not bad, but it's not great.
So your next song was "I'm a Princess" by Bill Wurtz.
I have a question before I say anything about this. You know,
Yeah.
it's fine if you didn't. But did
Yeah.
you watch the music video for it?
I did actually.
You did? Okay.
Yes. That didn't have any weighting on my opinion though. Normally, I would hate tracks that are this sort of cheesy and cutesy sounding, but because it's Bill Wurtz and because I know what his kind of style is, I respond to it a lot more positively than I would do otherwise. Because
Oh yeah.
it's just, I thought the instrumental was really cool, just like quintessential Bill Wurtz, loads of chord changes, weird sound effects. Vocally is on point as well, I really like. And I sort of picked up on the lyrics as well because they were interesting, because obviously they are fairly tongue-in-cheek, but they also do seem to be about somebody who sort of craves to be more normal and to be more self-aware, which I don't think is a point of view that is really done a lot lyric-wise, but I think it is pulled off very well here. So yeah, basically, I really enjoyed this song because, again, normally I would hate stuff that's this kind of cheesy and upbeat, but because of where it's coming from, because of how skillfully it's pulled off, both musically, vocally, and lyrically, I really, really enjoyed this.
Back on the road, back down the road downtown. I don't have courage, but I have something else. And it's more than words. I'm ridiculous.
So this song, again with like, there's nothing wrong with it. Again, it's similar to Emergency Telephone with the backing track, which is very sort of like synthy. For the first minute or two, it's great, and I think it's the saxophone, but it's very, very nice. And I said it's got slight lo-fi vibes, I guess.
Yeah,
And
I'll take that.
it's very chill, but it still leads up to something which I like. And then you got the lyrics, which I honestly grown more and more like liking to over the time. It turns into a FIFA intro. Imagine what would be on like a video game backing track. It'd be that. I also said it slightly sounds like KSI rapping in a Jamaican accent, like on that one song. The constant change is nice, and I said its familiarities, like the constant change, but keeping familiarity is very nice. I do quite like the song a lot.
So your next song was Cube by Zuby, and sort of coming off the point that you've just made, this sort of undoubtedly sounds like a typical YouTuber gaming intro circa like 2013. But like,
Yeah.
I think that aside, it is done fairly well. Like, I think the future bass sound it goes for is quite nice. I do like the synth stabs in particular. I'm a big fan of those kind of bright stabs of synth in a lot of tracks. So, you know, that really resonated well with me. I thought the trap beat underneath it was done well enough, I suppose. And, you know, I think the beat overall is fairly nice, despite how kind of generic and meme-worthy it might seem. Although I will
Well-
add the caveat that hearing dubstep wub wub wubs in any context just makes my face shrink inside itself. Beside the sort of genericness of it, I liked it. It was decent enough.
Now, your song next, if I'm not wrong,
Ah, this is very
Festival of Death,
interesting. Yes.
which very uncomfortable to listen to. I'll give you that. It's I was just sitting here like, I was writing down my thoughts as it happened. So
Yeah.
so I was like, this is a very interesting song. Starts with a really nice lo-fi piano, which it does. It starts with a very nice sort of like soft piano, and then it goes into the chanting, which as like a concept piece, I think this is a great song. Although yes, it's not a song you'd ever actually listen to, I don't think. And I thought the flute mid is nice, and it sort of feels like cult-like or Burn the Witch style, which I thought was interesting. And then it changes to the glockenspiel, I think, with a more sort of like Zen
Yeah.
style, which is very nice because it very much contrasts the start of the song.
I mean,
'cause-
Eskimo definitely as an album. I think they even put in the liner notes, like, you got to sit down, put like a fire on, and just listen to it all in one go. And so I think that is, I get what you mean 100% as like not listening to it like on your off time, or if you are going to listen to it, you're going to listen to the whole like album in one go, because
yeah,
it's weird seeing it out of context. But, you know, I'm glad that you sort of enjoyed it. And I 100% get what you mean about a performance piece, because I think there was at one point they were going to like propose an opera for it. And there's a bonus track on the Eskimo bonus, like deluxe edition, which is called the Eskimo Opera Proposal, which is absolutely insane. Your next song is Pain by Josh A. And this is kind of just a repeat of the stuff that I was saying about Palfu, because I thought the chorus was okay. You know, I thought the melody was fairly accessible and sort of catchy in a weird way. And, you know, but I found the beat really, really bland and repetitive. Like, there was no, like, build to it. There was no structure to it. And it just did the same thing over and over with, like, zero variation. And
Yeah.
again, I'll say as well that I really don't like the sort of emo sad boy raps, and this
Yeah.
is just like that to a T. I like the chorus and the vocal melody, but I just can't get past this style of like just boring, bland, sad boy rap.
Visions getting blurry, swear the Reaper's in a hurry. Yeah, I say I got no worries, but feels like nothing's gonna cure me. I don't really know why, been so damn sick of this ride. Just one out so I can feel normal.
The next song for you is from the band you like, The Prodigy.
Yes.
I didn't. First of all, I don't know why, but I can't not look at the album and laugh because it's got the crab rave crab thing. Like, I won't screenshot anything, but you can just see my notes just slowly getting smaller and smaller and smaller. The start is basically just a minute of repetition, and then the bass comes in. I thought the bass was very nice, and it started to change it up. The song, like the actual main song chorusy thing, is ironically funny, which Back My Bitch Up is just funny to me. As with a lot of other songs, there's nothing bad about it. It's just quite different. I don't want to get the stars wrong here because I'm always really bad at getting the stars. But it's like dubstep mixed with punk, I guess. I don't know if that's right. Have you watched Breaking Bad? There's a scene, this is not spoiled at all, but the scene where Jesse's like got a big party on his house, right? And it's like playing a bunch of songs through his big speaker system. And it feels like a song that he would be playing for that. It feels very sort of like something like the fact that it goes from Smack My Bitch Up to woman singing like in a sort of weird, it just seems like a very sort of like psychological, like, no, what's it called, psychedelic thing.
Yeah.
You know.
So this song was I can't remember what the title was. Hang on a minute.
What it's
Seki
pronounced.
Striki Nai or something, probably. Something
Yeah.
like that. So I thought the melodies and the vocals were quite nice. Just the way they kind of mix with each other, the melody and the beat and his own vocals. And I think he can sing quite competently as well. And I thought the chorus was fairly nice as well, just because of how catchy it was. I thought the beat was okay, although I didn't really like the way the snare sounded, because to me it sort of sounded a bit flat some reason. Like, for me, a snare, if you try to get it to pop out in the mix, it should snap, and this one just didn't really have a lot of snap to it, I suppose. I mean, this is getting
Yeah.
really bogged down in the details, but like, I as well, like, again, I thought the track was sort of catchy enough in basically every element that it was trying to do, but there wasn't really a great amount of like there wasn't like any major increase or decrease in energy or emotion or anything like that. So it sort of felt to me like it was sort of vaguely pleasant and just kind of meandered for 3 minutes and then finished. Like,
Yeah.
I definitely get why people would like this, but because there wasn't really a lot of highs or lows, or nothing really was like desperately trying to shove itself in your face, it just kind of flew by relatively quickly.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm going to be honest, after Post-War Glamour Girl, I just start making notes. I'm going to have to like... This song, as I've already said, sounds like your average Yorkshire dad, which is again, like half the other songs, it's not bad. The lyrics probably have a lot to say, but I didn't actually go up and look them up or have a look at anything about them. It just sounds like your average old guy complains about thing, which is fine. I don't mind it. But from a song perspective, I don't think it's not that I didn't. Yeah, it's not bad at all. Like, the instrumental again is quite nice. There's nothing wrong with it. A lot of these songs is just the instrumental I like and the lyrics I don't.
a lot of John Cooper Clarke's lyrics are very nonsensical, so it may just be that he's just saying things that have no inherent meaning to them.
It definitely feels like he's trying to, I don't know, criticize post-war glamour girls, I guess, as the title says.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, I'm not entirely sure what they are, but I can imagine that if I look them up, I may agree with him. I'm not sure.
You know, after all the soldiers have come home, you've got this sort of like girl who's like, "Hey, look at me, I'm so cool." And then, like, there was one lyric, "Only adults on her pubes," I think was the lyric, something along those lines. So I think I can kind of guess what the song's about. Where he's like, it's like Jimmy, why are all these slutty bitches coming out to me?
You know what, I'm going to keep that in and I'm going to send this to Jim after this. The next song is Crying Too Much. I don't want to repeat myself, but I'm going to. I even like this less than all the other ones, because this one, I genuinely can't find anything that I like about this song, because I don't like the beat because I thought it was boring. I thought the vocals were really comatose, but also melodramatic in their lyrical content, which I guess is kind of part of the course in this type of stuff. And I also thought mix-wise, it was pretty bad, because I thought the vocals were way too loud and that the beat was sort of buried in the background, although not that it makes much difference, just because of how boring it was. Like, I really don't know. Like, this is probably the sort of music that you'd listen to when your girlfriend that you've been going out with for 2 weeks leaves you, but you spent that 2 weeks buying her, like, Louis Vuitton jewelry, and then she leaves you after 2 weeks, then you're just crying about it.
Oh fuck, I'm drunk, went and did it again. I count my ties, guess I'm losing a friend. I'm stuck, your lies makes it harder to mend. My heart's so...
Oh, the next song for you is the only song. This sounds like someone just got epically trolled on Facebook and then made an entire song about it.
That is what happened. That is literally what happened.
Someone typed Ligma in his chat. It's such an odd song. It's just, I don't want another Facebook troll screamed for like, it's a 6 I didn't even realize it's a 6-minute song. And then like halfway through, I might be wrong, but like at least in the last 2 minutes, it just starts whistling, which I thought was like, what?
You thought the instrumental was nice? Yes, no?
It's a bit repetitive. It's not as good as any of the other ones, especially.
Your last song was Merry-Go-Round of Life, and I found this quite difficult to talk about because, like, like what I would say is a fairly conventional piece of kind of orchestral film music, like it's not bad at all. I like the sort of jazzier pianos and the touches of strings in the instrumental. I thought the vocalist did a decent job too, but like for me, it's just difficult to kind of review like kind of film score music beyond being like,
Yeah.
yep, this is from a film, and then I can't really say much else apart from that, just because I'm not really sure how to pick it apart, just because of the purpose that it serves. I don't really know why, like, I'm not sure how to kind of decode it or kind of pull it apart in any meaningful way. Yeah, I said that I thought it was decent, but I didn't understand why anybody would want to listen to it outside of the context of the film. I don't know. I'm not really sure how to review film scores beyond being like,
Yeah.
yep, it's from a film, and then I just
Yeah, I
kind
get
of
what you
leave it
mean.
like that. And I sort of thought that the last 2 minutes of the song kind of lost me because it kind of felt like the sort of generic music from like the background of a like Disney grand ball scene.
For you, the last song is
Oh.
Dad Vibes, which
This scene.
honestly I didn't think was that bad. I actually quite liked it. It's sadly got you very. I think this probably was made in the height of rap. Maybe not, but
This was made this year.
what really? That was made. I was like, this has to be made in like height rap, because the sort of like really generic rap, it doesn't flow very well. Not to be mean, but it's like, have you seen?
But believe me, Fred Durst, for the last 25 years of his career, all everybody has said is that he cannot rap.
I don't mind it. It's really not like that bad of a song. Like the instrumental's good. I think it doesn't flow very well. Like it's not Cecil Myers.
Cecil Myers. Hang on, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's so good.
No,
But
I know what you mean. Yeah.
But have
yeah.
it's what is it? I'll sell you a gas or diesel cars. That it's a fine song. Like it's one of the like the better ones out of the entire playlist. It's not bad at all.
Can't live with 'em, can't live without 'em. New kid back on the block with a rip. Dad got the fag in the back with the drip. Come and get a sip. La-di-da.
So now is the time of the episode where we do the overall batch ratings, and I will let you go first, my friend.
Like, I've already rated each song individually, so if I was to do sort of like, I'm leaning between like a 5 and maybe a 5.5, because there are things in here I do like, but just a lot of them have not mediocre, but they're just very, I don't know, nothing great, nothing bad. Like,
Yeah.
So I guess I'll give it like a 5 out of 10. Like I said, nothing amazing, but nothing bad about it.
You know, I will take that because it's not below a 5, so I will take
Yeah.
that happily. Thank you very much. This is difficult because it's sort of similar to yours in the way that there were a lot that I just kind of thought were okay, a few that I didn't like, and a couple that I did quite like. This might sound a bit harsh, but I think maybe 4.4, I think is what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I mean, there were definitely some good ones, like I'm a Princess was definitely a standout, and I don't know, some of the stuff like Ouse and that kind of thing, like Lakey inspired, but just kind of like average, you know, kind of good. And then there were a few the sort of emo rappy ones I didn't like. So I think 4.4 is maybe fair. Thank you very much for coming on the show. I've loved it. I'd love to have you again as well. If there's a place down the line that we could do this again, that'd be great. But yeah, once again, thank you very much for coming on the show. I hope you've all enjoyed watching. This probably won't come out for at least another 2 to 3 months because I've got the other episode with Gallagher that's probably come out a few months before this that I've still got to film the ending bit too. But hopefully when this comes out, you have enjoyed watching it. I'm sure that the boys in our Discord server will have some sort of weird watch party to this like they did with the last episode. So that should be fun. Anyway, yeah, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I will see you whenever the next episode of this drops in another maybe 2 to 3 months, which I think we have another special guest lined up for, so keep your eyes peeled. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you later.